I'm Lena, been in sales longer than I'd care to admit. Worked my way up to the big leagues, head of sales at this place everyone's heard of, but nobody really knows what they do. Life was all about the hustle, making those numbers dance. Then, this MLM gig landed in my lap. Sounded like a load of bull at first, but I gave it a shot. Turns out, I was pretty darn good at it. Made a killing, but you wouldn't know it looking at my place or my car. Modesty's my middle name, I guess. One mundane Tuesday, doing laundry in the basement of my building, that's when I ran into Alex. Guy looked lost, holding a pink, frilly dress in one hand and a detergent bottle in the other. Picture this, a big, burly dude, probably in his early 40s, looking like he's about to enter a war zone with a washing machine. "Hey, you got a minute?" he asked, scratching his head. "Which one of these will get grass stains out? My daughter's a bit of a tomboy, keeps sliding into home base in her Sunday best." I couldn't help but laugh. "That one," I pointed at the non-toxic, organic stuff. "Works wonders and won't turn her into a mutant." He chuckled, his eyes lighting up. "Thanks. I'm Alex, by the way. Alex and the mutant making stains." "Lena," I said, offering a handshake. "First time handling the laundry?" I teased. He sighed, a mix of exhaustion and amusement. "Feels like it. My daughter, Mia, she's 8. Full of life and stubborn as a mule. I'm a surgeon, so I can reattach a limb, no sweat. But this?" He waved at the machines like they were alien technology. "Might as well be rocket science." Our chat was cut short when his phone buzzed, a reminder of some dad duty, no doubt. But he paused, looking back at me. "Listen, Lena, would you? Could I maybe get your number? For laundry advice. Strictly professional, of course." "Sure," I said, scribbling my number on a piece of paper. "But only if you promise to share your secret on reattaching limbs. Never know when that could come in handy." He laughed, pocketing the number. "Deal. Thanks, Lena. Really. That should have been it, a one-off laundry room meet, cute. But life's funny like that. Next thing I know, we're bumping into each other at the grocery store, then grabbing coffee, and then dinner. Alex was different, a genuine guy who cared deeply about Mia. Watching him be a dad was something else. Made my heart do somersaults, which was new for me. Our dates weren't fancy, far from it. We'd find ourselves arguing over the best pizza topping or which movie to watch. It was real. One night, over burnt popcorn and a movie neither of us was watching, he looked at me, really looked at me, and said, "Lena, I don't know what this is or where it's going, but I'm in if you are." "Yeah," I replied, my voice softer than I intended. "I'm in, too." Things moved fast after that. Before I knew it, he was on one knee in that same laundry room where we first met, holding out a ring that was probably too expensive for a place that smelled like fabric softener and old socks. It was perfect. "I know this place isn't much," he started, his voice steady but his hands shaking just a bit. "But it's where I found the most amazing woman. Lena, will you marry me?" I didn't even let him finish. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Looking back, it was like a dream. A simple, unexpected meeting that changed everything. Who knew laundry day could turn your life upside down? Before tying the knot, I made a big move into Alex's place, where he lived with his 8-year-old whirlwind, Mia. My own apartments? Rented them out, a little detail Alex wasn't privy to. It was a practical move, keeping my investments working while I dived into this new domestic bliss. So, there we were one night, kitchen chaos from a stab at homemade pizza, when Alex dropped the P word. "Lena, we gotta chat. 'Bout something serious," he said, scraping a burnt crust off the pan. One evening, over a hastily thrown together dinner of spaghetti and meatballs, Alex brought up the subject I never thought would come into our little bubble of happiness. "So, Lena," he started, twirling spaghetti around his fork like he was gearing up for something big. I've been thinking, about us, about the future. I nodded, my stomach nodding. Yeah, me too. He took a deep breath, setting his fork down. I think we should talk about getting a prenup. I choked on my meatball. A prenup? I managed to cough out. Yeah, he said, rushing to pour me a glass of water. Hear me out, okay? It's not that I don't trust you or anything. It's just practical, With Mia and everything, I gotta think about her future too. I took a sip of water, trying to collect my thoughts. Alex, I get it. It's just, I never saw us as that couple, The ones who plan their divorce before they're even married. He reached across the table, taking my hand. Lena, it's not like that. It's just a safety net, for both of us. You're killing it with your business, and I've got my practice. It's about protecting what we've both worked so hard for. I could see the logic in his words, but it stung. And what about us? What are we working towards? Doesn't this feel like we're betting against us making it? Alex squeezed my hand tighter. Hey, no way. I'm all in, Lena. This is just paperwork, a formality. I'm betting everything on us. But let's be smart, too. For Mia, for any future kids we might have. The way he included potential future kids in his argument, it softened me. Okay, let's do this smart then. But no cold lawyers. We make this agreement about us, our family. He smiled, that grin that always made me melt. Deal. We'll make it the most romantic prenup ever. How's that? Romantic prenup, I laughed. Now, there's something you don't hear every day. The next few weeks were a blur of meetings with lawyers and notaries, making sure our prenup was ironclad yet fair. Alex was right, it was practical, especially considering our unique financial situations. Still, it wasn't the most romantic lead-up to a wedding. But we made it work, sneaking in dates between meetings, laughing over the absurdity of discussing asset division over dinner. Finally, with the prenup signed and safely filed away, we could focus on the wedding. It was a small affair, just close friends and family. Mia was the flower girl, of course, stealing the show. The day was perfect, filled with laughter, tears, and a sense of unity. As we danced our first dance, Alex whispered in my ear, "See, we're making it. The prenup's just a piece of paper. This," he gestured around the room, "is real life." I smiled, resting my head on his shoulder. Yeah, this is us. For better or worse. But even in that perfect moment, I couldn't shake off a tiny voice in the back of my head. Was the prenup a sign of things to come, a crack in our foundation? Or was it just us being adults, facing reality head-on? Over time, our home life was a bit off-kilter. Alex threw himself into work, leaving me to juggle running the house, helping Mia with her homework, and squeezing in my own work from a makeshift office in the corner of our bedroom. Early on, I floated the idea to Alex about him starting his own practice. I could see the potential, it made sense with my knack for business and his medical expertise. Alex, have you ever thought about opening your own clinic? You'd be great, and we could manage it together, I suggested one evening, trying to keep the conversation light yet serious. He barely looked up from his plate, his fork pausing midair. Lena, drop it. I'm a surgeon, not some entrepreneur. And you're just a housewife, what do you know about running a business like that? His words stung. Just a housewife? Really, Alex? I've run a successful business for years. I know what I'm talking about. He scoffed, shaking his head. Let's not pretend your little MLM thing is the same as starting a medical practice. Stay out of it. I bit back a sharper reply. It wasn't worth the argument. But it hurt, being belittled like that, especially considering what I'd achieved on my own. As time went on, Alex's mood soured further. He'd come home late, reeking of alcohol, ranting about how the younger doctors were out to get him, stealing his surgeries, his prestige. I tried to talk to him, to find out what was really going on, to help. Alex, drinking like this, it's not you. What's really bothering you at work? I reached out, trying to bridge the gap that had formed between us. He shrugged off my hand, his eyes dark. What do you care? You wouldn't understand. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there, Lena. You're safe here in your little bubble. I recoiled as if slapped. My efforts to support him, to be a partner in this marriage, were brushed off, leaving me feeling more isolated than ever. Mia's transformation from a sweet child to a rebellious teen didn't help matters. Her demands grew alongside her attitude, and the day she exploded at me over a denied shopping spree, calling me names, was a low point. I can't believe you. You're just a greedy, old witch. Dad should never have married you. Mia's face was twisted in anger, her words cutting deep. I tried to stay calm, though every fiber of me wanted to shout back. Mia, that's enough. I am not your enemy. But it was like talking to a brick wall. She stormed off, leaving me to wonder where the sweet girl I once knew had gone. Turning to Alex for support was becoming a joke. She's your daughter, Alex. She's out of control. We need to do something. I pleaded after telling him about the latest episode. He just gave me a cold look. She's right, you know. You're not her mom. Don't pretend to be. Each word from him was a nail in the coffin of our marriage. I was alone in a house full of people, my contributions and feelings dismissed, my presence barely tolerated. Things took a nosedive when Alex stopped pitching in for anything around the house. Not a dime for groceries, bills, nada. There I was, juggling my online work, feeding us, keeping the place from turning into a dump, and making sure all the bills got paid on time. This wasn't the partnership I signed up for. It was like I was running a one-woman charity for the ungrateful. I'd lie awake at night, tallying up expenses in my head, wondering how we got here. This wasn't the dream. The dream wasn't supposed to have me stretched thin, covering every expense while Alex pretended we were still some happy family. One night, things hit rock bottom. Huddled on the couch with my laptop, I overheard Alex in the next room, his voice low but panicked, talking on the phone. Yeah, messed up the surgery again. Left a damn tampon inside her. But don't worry, I've got it covered. We'll pin it on the assistant. No one's gonna suspect a thing. My stomach turned. This wasn't just about us anymore, it was about his patience, his ethics. I knew I had to confront him. I couldn't just let it slide. So, I confronted him. Alex, we need to talk about what you said on the phone. You can't seriously be thinking of blaming someone else for your mistake. He whirled on me, his face twisted in anger. Mind your own damn business, Lena. This has nothing to do with you. I was taken aback. Nothing to do with me? Alex, this is about right and wrong. You can't just. Shut up. Just shut up, he shouted, cutting me off. You know what? I'm sick of you. You're a terrible lay, you can't cook for shit, and you're a lousy stepmom to Mia. His words were like a slap. I tried to argue, to defend myself, but he wasn't having any of it. You know what, Lena? I want you out. You're nothing but a drain on me. Get out of my house. Now. Before I could even process what was happening, he grabbed me by the shoulders and shoved me out the door, into the cold night, clad only in my pajamas. I was stunned, shivering, and hurt, but I wasn't about to let him get away with this. I banged on the door, my voice steady but firm. Open this door, Alex. Or I swear I'll call the cops. After what felt like an eternity, he begrudgingly opened the door, a scowl plastered on his face. As I stepped back into the warmth of the apartment, Mia appeared. Her words cut deeper than the cold. Dad, why'd you let her back in? Should have left her out there. That stung. More than anything Alex had said. Mia's words hammered home a painful truth. I had poured so much love and effort into this family, only to be treated like an outsider, like I was worthless. In that moment, something inside me clicked. It was clear as day. They didn't deserve my care, my love, my sacrifice. I realized I had been clinging to a fantasy, but the reality was far uglier. Waking up that next morning felt like lifting a ton of bricks off my chest. Alex had already left for work, silent as a ghost. Mia, too, headed out to school without a word my way. Not a bye, not even a glance. Fine. If they wanted to play it like I was invisible, I could do one better: I'd disappear for real. I packed my bags, grabbing important documents, and left for one of my apartments that was sitting empty. The silence of the place was a balm after the chaos of the last few months. No sneers, no cold shoulders, just me and my thoughts. First order of business? Lawyer. I needed to know where I stood legally. The lawyer's office was all polished wood and the smell of leather, a stark contrast to the turmoil inside me. The lawyer, Mr. Henderson, was a straight shooter. With the prenup and no shared children, this should be straightforward, he assured me after I laid out my case. And if he contests? I asked, thinking of Alex's spiteful nature. Mr. Henderson leaned back, steepling his fingers. He can try, but the prenup is clear. Plus, if he's been as reckless as you say, he won't have much ground to stand on. Reassured, I followed his advice and hired a detective. The findings were like a punch to the gut. Alex's affair with one of his nurses wasn't just a fling, it had been going on for years. That, on top of his professional blunders? It was worse than I thought. Fueled by a mix of betrayal and righteous anger, I went to his hospital, met with the administration, and laid it all out. The affair, the botched surgery, his drinking. I wasn't vindictive, but I couldn't let him play with people's lives, not anymore. The fallout was swift. A few days later, Alex's voice, ragged and desperate, crackled through my phone. "You've ruined me, Lena. Because of you, I've lost my license, my job. Mia and I have nothing now." His words tried to find the guilt in me, but I was fresh out. "You did this to yourself, Alex. You chose your actions. I'm just cleaning up the mess." After everything I'd been through, I knew it was time to turn the page. My company was my lifeline, not just financially, but emotionally too. It represented the independence and strength I had clawed back from the brink of my failed marriage. So, I decided to inject new life into it, to expand and reach heights that Alex had always scoffed at. Gathering my team at a cozy cafe felt like the first step towards this new chapter. The place was buzzing with energy, a mix of coffee aromas and the soft murmur of conversations setting the perfect backdrop. "Okay, team," I began, the team's eager faces in front of me. "We've been through the ringer, but it's made us stronger. It's time to scale up, push our boundaries. I know we can hit targets we've only dreamed of before." The meeting turned into a brainstorming session, ideas flying like sparks, igniting possibilities I hadn't even considered. We left the cafe buzzing with plans and a sense of unity that had been missing for too long. Riding this wave of positivity, I agreed to an interview with a local TV channel. They were interested in the story of a woman who had turned personal adversity into professional success. The day of the interview, I felt a mix of nerves and excitement. This was more than just publicity, it was my story, my truth. Then came the opportunity to tell my story on a local TV channel. The interviewer was keen to highlight the success of my MLM company, pointing out the million turnover like it was a badge of honor. And in a way, it was. The interviewer, a sharp, insightful woman named Marla, didn't waste time on pleasantries. "Lena, your company has seen remarkable growth, even through your personal challenges. What drives you?" Sitting across from her, the camera suddenly didn't seem so intimidating. "It's the belief in what we do. And, personally, proving to myself and everyone who doubted me that I can rise above challenges. Success is the best revenge." The interview aired a few days later. The response was overwhelming, messages of support flooding in, not just for the business, but for me. It was vindicating, a testament to my journey. Then, Alex called. His voice was smoother than I remembered, dripping with a sweetness that didn't reach his eyes. Lena, I saw your interview. Impressive. About the divorce, let's rethink this. We can start over. I couldn't help but laugh, a genuine release of all the pent-up ridicule. Start over? After you realized I'm doing well? Alex, you're predictable. He tried to charm his way through. Come on, Lena. We were good together. Let's give it another shot. I cut him off, my voice firm. The divorce is happening, Alex. My lawyer will be in touch about the financial compensation for your adventures. He lost his cool then. You think you can just walk away and take everything? I'll fight you for every penny. Remember the prenup you insisted on? I reminded him coldly. You won't get a dime of my earnings. You're the one who wanted this arrangement. The line went silent, his defeat almost palpable. Hanging up, I felt a rush of liberation. This was more than just a legal victory, it was reclaiming my dignity, my independence. A week after all the drama settled, I found Mia, my stepdaughter, waiting outside my apartment. It was a surprise, seeing her there, dressed down in a way that I'd always suggested was more appropriate, but she'd never taken to heart before. It felt like a calculated move, designed to tug at my heartstrings, or open my wallet, or maybe both. Can we talk? She asked, her voice softer than I remembered. All right, come in, I said, stepping aside to let her enter. This was the first time she'd ever been to my place, and her eyes darted around, taking in the modest furnishings and the neatness I maintained. She hesitated before starting. I want to live with you. I can't stand being with Dad anymore. I looked at her, really looked at her, and all I could see were dollar signs in her eyes. It was clear this wasn't about finding a nurturing home, it was about securing a more comfortable one. Mia, you know that's not possible, I said firmly. I can see what you're trying to do, and it's not going to work. She broke down then, tears and promises pouring out. I'll change. I'll do anything you ask. Just please, don't make me go back there. It was hard, watching her crumble like that, but I knew it was all part of her act. Mia, my decision is final. I can't help you. Guiding her to the door, I could feel her desperation, but it didn't sway me. Her tears didn't seem real anymore, not after everything. After she left, the divorce proceedings moved quickly. Alex's infidelity, now out in the open, made things simpler on my end. I received financial compensation, a small victory in the grand scheme of things, but a victory nonetheless. Blocking their numbers was the last step, cutting the final thread that connected us. It was over, truly over this time. I was free, ready to rebuild my life on my terms, without the shadows of their manipulation darkening my doorstep again. After closing the chapter on my marriage and stepping away from the shadows of betrayal, I focused all my energy on my business and personal growth. My company was not just surviving, it was thriving, expanding in ways I hadn't dared to dream before. One day, as I was reviewing sales reports, Jen, my faithful companion and assistant, walked into my office, her face alight with excitement. You won't believe the numbers this quarter, Lena. We've outdone ourselves. I smiled, leaning back in my chair. Hit me with the good news. We've doubled our sales, and the new marketing strategy? It's a goldmine. People love the authenticity we're bringing to the table, Jen announced, practically bouncing on the spot. I couldn't help but laugh, the sound bright and genuine. That's incredible, Jen. It's all thanks to the hard work and dedication of this team. We've built something amazing here. As Jen left my office, full of plans and preparations, I took a moment to soak it all in. The silence of the room was a stark contrast to the chaos of my past, a testament to how far I'd come. I had not only rebuilt my life, but elevated it, creating success and stability out of the ruins left behind by Alex and Mia. My phone rang, breaking the silence. It was a call from a community organization asking if I would be interested in mentoring young women starting their own businesses. The opportunity to give back, To help others navigate the treacherous waters of entrepreneurship and personal growth felt like the perfect next step. I'd be honored, I told them, my voice steady and sure. There's nothing I'd like more than to help others find their path, just as I found mine. Hanging up, I felt a profound sense of contentment. My journey had come full circle, from struggling to stand on my own 2 feet to being in a position to lift others